Hey guys, it's Ayanfe. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a third year medical student at the University of Cambridge and I'm taking a year out to study psychology. Are you ready? So this video has actually been planned since last year, but I don't know why. I haven't recorded it before now, but I'm going to be talking about second year and giving my overall review on how I think it went and how I found it. And hopefully it'll be a help to somebody. But before I talk about that, I'm going to give you a brief overview of my first year. So first year was actually the worst year of my life. I am not over exaggerating. It was actually the worst year of my life. Apart from like the excitement of starting something new and being in a new environment and like making new friends and stuff. But like academically, it was the worst year of my life. I was sleeping in the library, all-nighters. Well, I only survived 1 or 2 all-nighters. And I just found it really hard to adjust. Yeah, especially exam term first year. My body reacted like so badly to stress, and I really hate stress. It's like one of the things I hate in this life, and I was so stressed first year. But moving on to second year. Okay, so in Cambridge, the second year is meant to be like the death year. It's meant to be like the hardest year in terms of content, in terms of how much content you have, how hard the content is. One of the hardest points of our medical career, apart from our final year exams. And let me tell you, I felt it. Yeah, it's just meant to be like your antisocial year, and then you're meant to make up for it in third year when you have more free time. But Corona had to ruin it for me. So I'm going to split this video into academics, so the subjects we had to take, and supervisions and essays. Then I'm going to talk about my social life and extracurriculars. And then I'll talk about exams and lockdown and all of that stuff. And then I'll talk about how I kept sane during the year and which one I preferred out of first and second year. So let's get into it. So part of the jump between first year and second year is the increased number of modules. So in first year we had 3 main modules and then 1 smaller one, but in second year we had 5 main modules, and they were MODA, which is pharmacology, NHB, which is neuro, HNA, which is head and neck anatomy, BOD, which is biology of disease, so that is pathology, and HR, which is human reproduction. So we go from juggling 3 main subjects to 5 main subjects, which is crazy. And on top of the extra lectures, we had longer practicals, more practicals. It was just a lot more supervisions, more essays. Like there'll be some weeks where I had like 5, sometimes 6 essays due in, but I got through it, passed the exams. In terms of subjects, I'm going to rank them from top to bottom. So my favorite subject was NHB, which is neuro. I found it really interesting. I really enjoyed the lectures on emotion and psychology. We also had to do neurophysiology practicals and neuroanatomy practicals. My second favorite would probably be BOD, which is pathology. I just found it interesting and it just made more sense. So my next favorite would be human reproduction, just because same, like it's interesting and it actually like it makes sense in the real world, and it was just ultimately easier to learn. Like the whole thing of pregnancy and development of children is kind of like a timeline, so it was a lot easier to learn than other subjects where it was just abstract facts. So my next favorite is HNA, and I have no reason why it's here. It's just better than the next one, which is pathology. Pathology wanted to kill me because I think there were like 200 drugs that you had to learn. 200 drugs that you had to learn on top of all the processes and the mechanisms and all of that other stuff. And every lecture, there'll be like 5 more drugs you would have to learn to add to your Anki. And I knew from the beginning I should have learned it from like the start, first lecture. It came to exams and there was still some drugs that I did not know because I only started using Anki properly in the holidays. And I just knew, like, even writing essays, I would just be writing drugs down. Did I know what they did? No. They were from the lecture notes. Was actually the worst. It was the worst. I know it's so boring to learn. At least the other things make sense in the context. But drugs are just names, and the names sound so similar, like onium, inium or onium. But with pharmacology, once you learn like a few patterns, you can kind of blag it. Yeah, and that's what I did. Like, I did not learn all of those drugs. And even the day before exams, like some of the drugs I didn't know. A lot of the drugs I didn't know, sorry. Yeah, I only knew a few drugs. But so next I'll talk about supervisions and essays. As most of you guys know, Cambridge is renowned for their supervision system, which is when you talk in a small group with a supervisor and then it just makes sure that your learning is good and you actually understand the concepts and stuff. And this year, or second year, I found supervision so helpful because it really cleared up misunderstandings and made sure that I wasn't going in the wrong direction or misunderstanding anything. And sometimes if you haven't been over the content, it's kind of like a midweek reminder of what the lecture was about. But ultimately, or maybe it's just me, but sometimes when I have loads of work, I just don't do anything. And having supervisions really made sure like I was at least trying to understand the work as I was going along, or trying to at least do some work to prepare for the supervisions. A lot of our supervisions were either quizzing you or just filling in the gaps where you found it hard. So supervisions were so helpful in that aspect. In terms of essays, I would lie if I told you that they weren't all done on the day they were due in. Well, most of them. Some of them I did in the weekend before. But yeah, a lot of them were done the day they were due in, and that was because I knew I could have done it then, type of thing. Yeah, I think one thing from the second year is like you get to know yourself a lot and know how you work. First year I used to stress and I used to like spend the whole weekend doing one essay. But looking now at it, like I didn't need that much time. And that's because then I didn't know how to learn as I was going along and how to make sure I actually understand the concept. Because even first year, I'll spend 2 days in an essay, and then the essay won't even answer the question. And the essay will show that I did not understand anything that was going on in the lecture. But second year, even though I spent less time on essays, some of them were quite good. Some of them still showed that I didn't understand what was going on, but some were okay. I found second year essays to really help me to try to like solidify the concepts in my head. Sometimes I'll just like rewrite the lecture notes and hopefully I'm answering the right bit. But then in some questions you actually have to understand it. So for those ones, yeah, really helped me to make sure that I was on the right track. And even if I haven't gone over the lectures, at least I would have touched the material again during that time. So yeah, it was helpful in that aspect. So moving past work, because I'm tired of it. Next aspect is my social life. And to me, that was my favorite part of second year. So second year, I was a part of the ACS. So I was a secretary. I used to be in gospel choir first year. I had to quit because it just clashed with my supervisions and so many other things I was doing. I used to go to the gym as well. So I was Christian Union representative in my college, which we did like Bible studies and meetings, which was really cool. I was also part of a small group team in church, which we did at my friend's room, which was nice as well. So like, even though the work was insane, because I was doing so much outside of work, I kind of had things to look forward to at the end of work. So the thing with me is, and I think most people who are students, like the work will always be done. The quality may vary, or how stressed you are while you're doing it may vary, but if you want to have a good piece of work and you can do it in 6 hours, it will be done in 6 hours, or it can be done in 2 days. That's how I see it. So like, and it's the rule that work expands to fill up the time. And I think because I reduced the time compared to first year, in which I had loads of time to do work because I wasn't really doing any other extracurriculars, and I still wasn't getting anything done. But we're not going to talk about first year anymore because that was. But in second year, even though I was doing a lot, I also had loads of time to socialize. So I made loads of friends, got deeper relationships with my friends, just met loads of new people through like Christian Union, through ACS. And that is time I would not regret. And the thing with me, like, I hate regret, especially now that we're in lockdown. One thing I'm really grateful for that I did, or I'm glad that I did during second year, was like not pass up opportunities for fun to do work, because like I said before, work will get done. It's just how efficient I need to be when I do it, and the less time I have, the more efficient I will force myself to be. So having so much going on as well kind of kept me sane, even though I had loads of work to do, and I was kind of running and cycling from place to place. I felt like I had a purpose, and it wasn't just like I was in university just to get this medical degree and just do medicine, because when I'm not liking medicine, when I'm not liking learning all the drugs, I will go do something else, and I have something else to do, and then I'll get back to my work instead of what I used to do in first year when I was so demotivated. I would just lie in my bed and look at the ceiling for like 3 hours and then remember I have an essay due in a few hours. And I think that's what kept me sane and kept me through the year. So the very last day of Lent term second year, we had our head and neck exam. I think it was even after term ended. Yeah, it was a Friday. So we had our last head and neck exam, and then we went to Spoons to celebrate, blah, blah, blah. And then that was when like coronavirus was kind of simmering. Like, it wasn't in the air, but there were no masks or anything. And then we didn't come back. So we had to do exam term at home. And we were really kept out of the loop for so long. Our exams as medics were pushed to September because they were hoping everything would be fine and everything would be open by then so we could do them in person. But we did not. We had to do them online anyway. So we could have really done them in June. But to be honest, if we did that in June, would I have passed all of it? No. Being honest. So I was really confused and I was really demotivated because we just like gone out of revising for head and neck anatomy, and then we came home, and normally you would like start ramping up your revision for like all the other subjects, but because we didn't know whether we were doing the other subjects, when the exam would be, what type of exams there would be, so I just lost all motivation. Apart from the supervisions that we did, and we did a few mock exams that were set, I did not spend much time doing work. And I think, like I said before, is the whole thing of like work expense to do time, because we didn't know what type of exams we were doing, and the exams were now in September. So I felt like I had lots of time, and because we weren't going to have a summer, so my goal was to like at least go through most of the content before summer, give myself like a month to have summer, and then like start revision proper in August. But that did not happen. I procrastinated. But some days I'll just do like my Anki flashcards and try and get through as much as we can do. Essays were cancelled, so all the essays that I wrote, irrelevant. Point of time was really difficult because it's so much work, and I guess like with medics, we have 7 medics in our college. At least you know you're all in it together, but when you're at home and it's just you and this like insurmountable amount of work and knowledge that you have to fit in your head, and so many things are just memorizing. So like all the name of drugs, you just have to remember it. anatomy, you just have to remember it. And because our exams were now just MCQ, is like either you know it or you don't. There's not like, you can't really blag your way through like you could have in an essay. But yeah, but for exams I decided to move back to my Cambridge college so I could have more focus and better internet. But I went in the day before my exam, and guess what? They didn't turn the internet on before my actual exam. I had to go to the IT guys to get the internet fixed, and I was so stressed. But we did the total of 14. We did the total of this amount of exams over 2 weeks. It was a stressful time. Like, it was very much wake up, exam, eat, revise for the next exam, sleep, wake up. And that was just it for 2 weeks. The only thing that kept me through revision and like actually passing the exams was that I never want to look at those things again, because one time was enough. But overall, up until March, second year was actually my favorite year. Like, I preferred it a lot more to first year. And I think that was mainly due to 3 reasons. So the first reason I would say was like, I guess, prioritizing my happiness and my social life, even if it's just 1 hour of the day or like 30 minutes, or just seeing someone in passing and having a conversation. Like, I really love that. And that is something I made sure to do in second year because I really needed it, or I would have gone crazy. One thing I also prioritize in second year is, I'm not really someone who gets FOMO, but there's some things where I regret not doing it because of work. I hate saying I can't do something because I have work or I have too much work to do, because the work will always be there. Like, the work will even get bigger. And even think about some of the events I didn't go to because I had essay or things to do. Like, essays didn't even count in the end. So it really goes to show that you should prioritize experiences and just making memories. Like, third year is over halfway done, and it's crazy. Second thing is having an outlet. So I started going to the gym, and that was very much a emotional outlet for me. So it's like a time where I didn't get too stressed, and just having something else to focus on and having something else to reach for that wasn't grades. Yeah, and that was really helpful to me. And third thing that made second year a little bit more bearable was that I found a little bits of joy in each subject, even though I've complained about the subject. And medicine is so interesting. Like, second year content was so much more interesting than first year content, and I think that made it a little bit easier, just a little bit easier to learn. And second year, like, the information was a lot more interesting and made more sense in terms of like the relevancy to being a doctor, and just finding pieces and subjects that you like to learn. So for me, even though I hated pharmacology, I would watch pharmacology videos and I actually quite enjoy those, and that will make the actual like reading or watching lectures more interesting. And one thing with second year, maybe because the exams were a bit different in my year, I didn't focus too much on just like memorizing things or remembering, or memorizing things just to memorize it, apart from exams when I realized I didn't know a lot. But yeah, I focused on like actually getting stuff into my head, and just making it make sense to me. And that's what I really enjoyed about second year. So even though second year was the hardest year academically, it was also the most enjoyable year academically, and just socially as well. Like, 10 out of 10 socially. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that some of the tips I gave you were helpful. I hope my experience was helpful and you learn from my mistakes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to do a third year version of this. I have a lot to say already. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with me. I'll be releasing vlogs, lifestyle content, tips on how to get into medical school, how to get into Cambridge. And if you have any more suggestions, put them in the comment down below, and follow me on my socials to keep up with me. I will post a lot more there than here. And yeah, goodbye. Thanks for watching.